Good afternoon. This is Joan Kindig with Sagging Bookshelves. I think this is installment 116. No, it just feels that way because of the COVID isolation thing. It's really taking a toll on me. I'm sure it is all of you. I did do graphic novels last week, and there just wasn't enough time, so I found others that I really have to mention if you're talking about graphic novels. So I did pull a few others, and then I have some other books to talk about. One of the one I should mention first today is this one. And this one is called, Don't You Love Me Right There? I can't figure out how to move it. Oh well. This is called New Kid, and it's by Jerry Craft, an African-American author and illustrator. Quite good. And his protagonist is this great kid who's got a lot of talent in art. He draws all the time. That's what he kind of lives for. And he's in middle school now. But his parents have decided that they want the best for him. And what they think is best may not necessarily be what the kid feels. I was one of those people. And the parents have great intentions, but they're just kind of misreading some signals. So he's a sharp kid, and look at that. It's just such a great book. I really love it. And Jordan Banks, I think is his name. Is that true? Kind of like to know the name of someone. Yeah, Jordan. And he is being put now in this middle school in New York that is really going to take him places. You know, it's like, you know how some people have to negotiate. They want to get the best preschool and the best elementary and so on. Well, he's been in regular old school, but now it's middle school time. And his parents want him to go into this high-achieving school. And he just doesn't want to. Middle school is a tough hurdle for a lot of kids. You're in with a lot more kids than you knew before. Under the best circumstances. In this case, he's going to have new kids, because he is the new kid. So he's got all these kids to get to know and, I guess, impress slightly so that he's accepted. And all the time in doodling, So he's doing okay at school, but it's just not where he's meant to be. And so it's a really great middle school novel. And him discovering what it is he really wants, and his parents figuring it out. Another layer of uncertainty here for Jordan is that he's biracial, and there's not as many in this elite school that look like him, and so he's got to figure out where does he lie. At some point, do you make a decision? I'm going to go with African Americans, or am I going to go with whites, because that's what his mix is. It's a really good book. And the reason I wanted to show it to you is this one, The Newberry, this past year, which is so awesome. First, it's a graphic novel, which always makes me happy when African American authors and illustrators win the big prizes. But a graphic novel by an African American, that is so awesome, and it wins the Newbery. So everyone was thrilled. It was just, I hadn't heard a lot of buzz about it beforehand, but boy, once I found it and read it, I understood why. So I recommend this book. It's beautifully done. I think everyone should read it. It's awesome. Another winner this year was this one called Stargazing, and they have an award that I hadn't been on my radar, but it's a Pan-American award for kids who are, Pan-Asian, so they're maybe Pacific Coast, Islanders, or Filipino, or Guamese, or whatever it is. But this is a really good book, and it's about two kids. One family is doing fairly well, and the other is this boy and his mom, and they're not doing so well. And our main protagonist, her family, ends up putting a roof over their head. They have a cottage out back. And so it's about both of them beginning to see each other in each other's shoes. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book. And it's for those kids who come from those cultures. What a treasure they get to see themselves. How cool is that? And also the idea of compassion and empathy and seeing that you've got a lot in common with everybody. It's a pretty awesome book. I recommend that. So that won the Pan-Pacific Award. So more from them. Now this is one I had on the side of my desk and completely forgot it. I'm a little ditzy sometimes. This is called Whitebird, and Whitebird is by I was going to say Patricia Polacco. It's not by Patricia Polacco. It's by R.J. Palacio, who wrote Wonder, of course. And it's a graphic novel, and a pretty good one. I really liked it. It's set during the Holocaust, and it has to do with Julian, our least favorite character in Wonder at first. And the story is of his heritage and how it is his grandmother who had to escape Nazi Germany. And really, really well done. So if you're looking for something in the graphic novel area about World War II, this is a good one. And of course, you won't have to sell them on the author. They kind of know her. I also want to point out, because I think I should, this is The Educator's Guide. There's actually, if you go online, and, Google Whitebird or Palazzo, or, you will find these kind of support system for teachers. It's got, what about brainstorming, free writes, first chapter. It's got all these kind of things to support the teacher in terms of where can I help these kids go in this book? How can we do things afterwards that would make some sense? I caution everyone about these things. I think they're wonderful. But like any other educator's guide, you need to read them with this question in mind. How will this enhance the book for this child? The child's understanding of it, and how does all this work? And this is done by Rose Brock, who's a professor in Texas, and I definitely know she's done a good job here. But there are certain names that you see, like Pat Scales and so on, who will have things that aren't baloney. But every once in a while there is some baloney. And so your job as the teacher is not to open up a guide like this and just go, page 1, page 2, page 3. You go through, you choose, if you choose at all, and here's some pre-reading activities, and there's 4 of them. Which one would best fit my class, my kids? And which one do I feel most comfortable using, and which will help them engage in this story. And then here's wall reading, writing prompts, and lots to choose from, but you don't choose them all. And the same in the after reading. So there's plenty there, but you don't just do all of them. I have seen that happen, and it's not pretty. You're thinking, teachers absolutely need help. They do so much. But to insult them by expecting them to do every single thing and something like this is ridiculous. So anyway, but choose wisely and you'll be glad you did. So that's that for that. I also wanted to show you one, and I really couldn't find it last week. This week it appeared. One never knows why that happens, really. This is written by, and I don't really know how to pronounce his name, George Takei. I think he was on Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie, so anything I say from this point forward is suspect. But as a young boy, and this is meant to be him here. It was World War II, and he lived on the Pacific Coast. And even though he's an American citizen, he, like many other Japanese, were rounded up and put in internment camps. And this is his story about that, which I think is fascinating. I mean, it's just incredible. And he feels that it's really important that people know his story because it was like so many others. It's just they called us enemy. So George Takei, I recommend that one. They take on the best topics in these books. And again, remember the graphic novels. The kids pretty much really like them. Aaliyah's Mission is a very short one, as you can see. But there was a woman, now let me think of the name of the town, maybe they'll tell me here. You forget these little things. I'm so sorry, I'm a little crazy. She's in Iraq as the war's about to rear its ugly head. And there's a major library that this woman takes care of. And it's Basra. And it's this huge library that's very important in Iraq. And she became consumed with saving that collection of books. So much so that she enlisted people to take home a carton or two. Her idea being if there were bombings, that the whole collection wouldn't be gone, but just a bit of it. But it's pretty amazing. And there is a picture book by Jeanette Winter, the librarian of Basra, and also excellent. But if you're looking for a short read, Aaliyah's Mission is a good one. And then this one I loved. There are times I find books. Sometimes, publishers are very kind and send me books because they know that I'll talk about them if I like them. And this one came from First Second, which is a great graphic novel imprint. And it's from the French, and it's called Hidden. And it's about a young girl who lives with her father and her grandmother. But grandmother has never spoken really of the war. She adores her granddaughter. But there's this sadness always about her, and she can't figure it out. So she even goes to her dad to ask about it, and he said, I'm telling you, I don't know anything. She has not said anything. But as time goes by and our little girl learns more about what happened during that time period, get it right, it was here we go, Nazi symbol on the door there somewhere. There we go. I mean, she begins to understand. And it's then that her grandmother breaks down and tells her. And one night, they're up all night, and she's telling her the story. One that her father has never known. Yeah, so anyway, it's a really beautiful, beautiful story about how across the generations there is healing and an understanding of what each went through. It's a beautiful book. I really like it. And it's called Hidden because the little girl was hidden. When her, the little boy had to have been the one who was hidden. But anyway, again, memory issues. It was just really sad, it's just so sad. Anyway, but very powerful. And this is this is a very, very rough one, and I do want to make you aware of it because I am spending time, part of my reading time and getting woke, as they say. This is a story about lynching, a graphic novel, and it's called Incognegro, and the Incognegro refers to those blacks who did attend these lynchings in very much a hidden way, but they wanted to see what really went on. And there is our protagonist is here, and he is actually a newspaper reporter from the North. And by the way, the Incognegros were light enough that they could pass for white. But our protagonist decides to go down and actually become part of this culture while he can, so that he can get an understanding of what's really going on and bringing it back to the newspaper that he works for. It's really quite something. I was really glad I read it, because I just don't understand that stuff at all. This is a new one, so I'm moving out of some of the old ones. This one just came out in April. It's called When Stars Are Scattered. Do you remember, you better, Roller Girl, my favorite, Newbery Honor, by Victoria Jamieson? I loved that graphic novel, and she's done some other things too. And this is her newest one, When Stars Are Scattered. And it says it's written by Victoria Jamieson and Omar Mohammed. And she met this young man who is running really a refugee center. I think it's in Maryland. It's somewhere on the East Coast. And the two of them met, and when she heard his story, she thought this could be a really good book. And I don't know what it's like to live in a refugee camp. I just can't even imagine it. And we do need to get into the heads of kids who have to deal with that. The one that I remember is The Red Pencil by Andrea Davis Pinkney. And some, historical ones too. But this is set in the Middle East. Let's see. Dadaab, a refugee camp in Kenya. There's never enough food. There's certainly very little in the way of education. This boy and his brother's got some developmental disorders. live with a woman who's sort of taken them in, and she's like their grandmother, and it's just so disheartening how they have to wait. He couldn't go to school because he didn't have proper attire. They have to wait for food for when it's delivered. It is in full color, by the way. When they send the advance copies, there's usually only a few pages that are in color. In this one, I don't see any. But the final copy is. And it's about how they survive that camp, relying on their wits, really. And our older protagonist, of course, that's a little hard to do, and his brother's got such challenges. Anyway, it's eventually they do get, the older one goes to school. The younger one does too, I think. And from that, he just always takes any opportunity that's thrown at him, and he eventually gets someone to sponsor him to come to the United States. And so that's where, of course, Victoria met him, and this wonderful story about refugees in America. We need them, and I just honor them for how scary would that be for your kids if you have like a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old all by themselves in the world and trying to make something out of it and doing so. That's pretty amazing. Now I'm going from the sublime to the ridiculous. This is a funny one, actually. This guy, Brian Box Brown, did another, he's done a few, but one about Andre the Giant, Life and Legend, and that was pretty funny. This one is called Child Star, and it's funny. It's about this, it's almost like the character's almost, it's not based on Gary Coleman, but this guy's short. He's not growing fast. He's sort of stuck in growth time, and he was just really cute and adorable when he started being on TV shows. And of course, he gets a little wiser, a little sassier, and he grows up never big. But it's about that, what happens with child stars. They can be, you can't get much cuter than the Little Rascals, but none of them really had big careers. Well, except for Gary Cooper. Was that not Gary Cooper or something? Or I can see his face, but I can't bring it up. Anyway, but they just sort of fade away, and it's depends on the parents and everything else about how well they fade away. So this is one I just read, and I really did enjoy. And now I just want to talk about a couple things I've got here that are very much worth talking about. Because as far as I'm concerned, talking about Jacqueline Woodson is always a treat. She is the most awarded of all of our young adult and children's literature people. Bit on her on CBS. You can Google it on YouTube and you will find it, where they interviewed her. I loved this book. It's called Before the Ever After. I must have gotten an ARC early on, because when they were talking about it, I'm thinking, dang, I swear I've read that book. And sure enough, I had. This is the story of a little boy who has the nicest relationship with his dad and his mom. And his dad, NFL player. And he, like most NFL players, take a fair number of shots to the head. And we have learned over time that this is not good for the head. It really damages the brain. And you hope that doesn't happen, but it can. And so this story is about this boy and his wonderful dad. Dad can no longer play. He's been put on the disqualified list. And it's about how Mom is now having to take up the gauntlet of keeping the family together, because Dad, you can't rely on everything with him. All the neighborhood kids, all of our protagonists, ZJ, and his name, all the kids, flock to him because they all love football and they all love his dad. But even they're seeing this slip quite a bit. And it's about what happens to this family. But one of the things that Jackie said on CBS, the things I really agreed with, there's this wonderful group of friends, the guys who have each other's back, totally. And they talk about things. We always think that boys don't talk about any issues. And this group of friends does. And it's a wonderful, wonderful a bubble for him to be in when he's with them, because they can talk about anything. He can put anything out on the table. And it's written in poetry. And this is just one day in ZJ's life. January 1, 2000. Was your dad drunk last night? Derry whispered. We were all sitting in the kitchen mixing cereal. Kix and Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops and some bad organic one. My mom tried to sneak in with the others. My dad doesn't drink. Maybe it was drugs, Daniel said. People get caught up sometimes. Ollie looked at me and I stared down at my bowl. My dad doesn't do drugs either. You all know that. He doesn't even like those shots they give him when he gets hurt. Nobody likes a shot, Ollie said. Not even football players, and they don't even really care about pain. Anyway, he was just messing with us. He got y'all good. Ollie looked at me and smiled. Come on, man. I knew he was just playing, Derry said. He took a mouthful of cereal. No, you didn't. Your eyes got all big, Ollie said. He wasn't playing, Daniel said. Something's going on. Nah, he was playing, Derry. He almost had me, too. I swear he almost had me. And her writing is just so beautiful. I love her books. I can't think of one that I thought, she's awfully good. Of course, this is getting all kinds of rave reviews, as it should. Another book I got this week that I just love. I love everything about this book. Let me get up a little higher so you can see the dang size of this thing. It's a nice big book. And I love how it's called I Am Every Good Thing. And I love that the perspective is from the floor up, because he is every good thing, It's by Derek Barnes and Gordon C. James. And a couple of years ago, they won the Caldecott for Crown, an ode to the fresh cut. That was such an innovative book for me. I just loved it. I hadn't seen it because it was with a small publisher and they don't send review copies to me. But when I got a hold of it, it was mind-blowing. It was this wonderful story about a young black kid's experience going to the barbershop and everything that goes with it. There's a whole ritual. It was great. It was so refreshing. I loved that book from the time I laid eyes on it. Just brilliant. Well, they did it again. It's called I Am Every Good Thing. And this is what, I just think black kids in particular, Look at that. We have this kid. Get me out of that picture. I don't know how to do that. Lordy be. Anyway, he's flying. I just love the sense of movement. We have, looks like feathers sort of painted in. And look at the smile on that beautiful boy's face. I am a non-stop ball of energy, powerful and full of light. I am a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round, like gravity or the glow of moonbeams over a field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks. I am knees and elbows. But you know what? I am right back on my feet again. Let's see it. I hope. He's looking at, there we go, a microscope. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me, and plotting out those far-off places I have yet to go, but will. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite, like yes ma'am and yes sir, helping my grandmother across the street and saying bless you when a stranger has to sneeze. He's brought up right, this boy. I'm a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. Great double-page spread of him in this great joyous pose. I am a roaring flame of creativity. I am a lightning round of questions and a star-filled sky of solutions. I am an explorer planting a flag on every square foot of this planet where I belong. I am a sponge soaking up information, knowledge, and wisdom. I want it all, and I am all ears. I am Saturday morning in the summertime. I am 2 bounces and a front flip off the diving board. I am hilarious. I am the life of the party. There he is. I am that smile forming on your face right now. I'm the boom bap, boom boom bap, when the bass line thumps and the kick drum jumps. I'm the perfect beat, the perfect rhyme, keeping everything on point and always on time. But you already knew that. I am a grand slam, bases fully loaded. I'm a nasty 2-handed dunk, holding on to the rim just to remind you that I'm still the man. Believe that. I am the undisputed champion. I am a highlight reel of magnificence. I am the celebration, the applause, and the standing ovation. I am victory. I am a brother, a son, a nephew, a favorite cousin, a grandson. I am a friend. I am real. I am tight hugs, a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on, if you have to. I hope you never have to. I am here. Although I am something like a superhero, every now and then I am afraid. I'm not what they might call me, and I will not answer to any name that is not my own. I am what I say I am. I am that sound in the forest when the mighty tree falls. I am waves crashing gently on the shore. I am a force of nature, a miracle, a blessing. I am brave. I am hope. I am my ancestors' wildest dream. I am worthy of success, of respect, of safety, of kindness, of happiness. And you can see, Thurgood Marshall there, and I think that's Barack Obama. It's hard to tell. But just all these people in his past. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be loved. Isn't that wonderful? it could be not more joyous, more celebratory. There's no sense of braggadocio. It's just, I am this person, and this person has, like so many other people in this world, have special things about them. And I just think this is just gorgeous. I think every classroom should have that available to them. And it should be definitely in every library near and far. So that's it for this week, and my trying to keep it at a decent length. I will see you next week, and who knows what I'll have next, huh? Thanks very much for listening. If you wouldn't mind clicking on, there's something there that lets people know you're subscribing, and in that case, I get more people signing up. Haven't had a ton yet, and if I don't get a ton before too long, I'll take my books and I'll go home. That's what I'll do. No, it's just a lot of work to put this together, believe it or not, and it just would be nice if there were more people who were listening to it, for sure. All right, take good care of yourself. Stay safe. We're going to get through this, and I love all you book lovers out there. Take care. Bye-bye.